Our challenge was to think about how cruise ships could be utilized when docked. Because a lot of times the cruise ship might be empty and the services might not be necessarily being used. There's lots of discussions around kind of like the user persona and the idea of, well, with a Viking ship cruise, like what percentage of the attendees are actually getting off the cruise ship since they are older, they might, end up staying on the cruise ship. But after discussing it, we said, well, there's some areas of the cruise ship that's kind of like locked down for the afternoon. So what happens if we opened up those spaces? The idea being, how could we introduce the next generation to Viking ship cruises? Because you have a lot of people in their 40s and 50s who are going to become the Viking ship cruise customer in the next decade. Thinking so that was kind of our persona, is this woman who's traveling with her friends in her 40s and 50s, someone who's comfortable using technology. So here's a landing page. So how did she get here? Our concept was that she was in one of the cities that one of the boats was porting in, and her and her friend were using OpenTable to try to find a reservation and for dinner the next day. While scrolling through all the different potential restaurants, there was a promoted ad that Viking was running. And so they stopped at it because it talked about having lunch prepared by a 3-star Michelin chef and having a unique experience, a unique spin on the local cuisine. So they were thought, oh, that seems cool. Let's learn more about that. So they tap on that, ad, and they are then pushed to the Viking Ship Cruise mobile website and just focused on booking these lunches essentially. So she goes through and says, well, I'm interested in learning more about, this one that's coming up the next day. So she goes in and, just clicks on the card, and then it takes her to more information about the ship, the chef, Ramsey, the chef that will be preparing the lunch, menu, ability to go see some photos, embedded video, and reviews. A lot of this, when we discussed, was what are the when someone lands at this page, what are the tasks that they're going to want to accomplish, and what kind of information are they going to need to make a confident decision about are they going to book or not. In this case, they like what they see. We said, well, let's make sure they can see the photos and go through a gallery of the foods that are going to be prepared for that day. Again, thinking video is very something that's very attention grabbing, so we were like, let's include some of that. Let's see. So the idea being is that as they scroll down, the button gets fixed to the bottom. She still has the ability to see what ship and all that information is. So she hits the book button, she's confident knowing what she's about to purchase. So she hits book. The idea being, we were thinking of integrating Stripe into our workflow, but we didn't get time for that. But so she lands on the order summary page, hits pay, so $198 for the two of them. And then we were trying to think of ideas of how to upsell them at the beginning. So the idea of leveraging social and giving discounts, but then obviously making the biggest call to action button, the exclusive offers. So she goes in and taps on that, and it scrolls up all the different services that will be available for her and her friend to try at the end of the lunch. The idea being is trying to introduce them to the services that are available on the ship. Here you can kind of see the idea of it was a couple, because a lot of these Viking ship cruise experiences are both a man and a woman, a married couple. The idea being here's some ideas for, I guess, a lady to do, not necessarily a guy can do them too, and then cigar 101. So trying to give a lot of different options for a lot of different personalities, essentially. A little interest, I guess. What else? Just we were using Figma. I don't know if you guys have ever used this tool. It's cool, design collaborative. Uh, I think it's freemium. You know, you can have like one project, but it's like a public project. But it's really, if you guys are familiar with like Sketch and Zeppelin, it's kind of like those two came together and had a baby. And then trying to kind of have a ability to prototype, so a little bit of like an InVision. But it's nice that what's cool is all of us could be in this tool. I could be on a page making something, and someone could say, "Oh, I just finished this button over here," and I was like, "Oh, I need that button," so we just go grab it and drop it in. Yes.
One aspect of the app was the confirmation of the order, where it would
Oh yeah.
make the phone call. Yeah. If the hypothetical person were to go through the rest of the transaction was confirmed via a phone call directly from the app with a recorded voice saying that you have now booked so-and-so and congratulations and yeah.
And the idea behind that was we looked at the Viking Ship Cruise website, and the biggest kind of call to action communication piece was actually like call. And so we then theorized, well, a lot of these people, since they are older and they might not necessarily be technologically friendly or familiar and whatnot, is let's make it so that they can call or leverage that kind of experience where it's like, so we have a little bit of, modern tech with, something that's a little bit older with a confirmation phone call. Then the other developer who's not here, what he worked on was the idea of limited Wi-Fi. And so he was using SMS to make all these bookings and updatings of the number of positions left. So the idea being is that we thought that, limited Wi-Fi or limited internet access, this would be a way that, SMS in the middle of the ocean, we're guessing was more doable than internet. You guys are probably way better experts on that than we are, but that was like the idea.